Hi and welcome back. I'm Heidi and we're right in the middle of my intro to yoga series. We are moving on to inversions. Now, when you hear inversions, I know a lot of people go straight to handstands, forearm stands, and that can be pretty scary and it takes some time to get there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only inversions out there in yoga. I rarely actually do handstands and forearm stands. As fun as they are and invigorating and empowering, one, I don't always get in my handstand, and two, it takes a really long time to get to a handstand or a forearm stand, which I still don't have. So getting back to all the other inversions that you can experience in a yoga class, I'm going to break each one down for you and give you the benefits of each one. Before we get started though, I really need you to have some sort of blocks or something that can support you. Maybe rolled up towel if you don't have blocks, or just a really thick or just that kind of a thick pillow, that will do too. All right, so I'm going to just set these aside and then talk a little bit about what inversions are. Inversion is anything that brings your feet or your hips above your heart, and your head is lower than your hips. That's it. And you will see that in so many poses. The first one is downward dog. We've done this one before. Okay, so feet hip distance apart, hands about shoulder width apart. We bring the hips back. I'm going to bend my knees slightly because my hamstrings are a little tight these days and I really want to get a lengthening in my spine here. So I'm going to bend the knees a little and then bring the chest towards the thighs and spin my inner thighs towards the back of the room. Right here, my head, my heart is below my hips. This is an inversion. All right, so take a big breath in here and a big breath out. A breath in and breath out. All right, come onto your knees and take a seat. Awesome. First inversion pose done. One that you will visit many times in different types of yoga classes, being it even hatha, vinyasa, sometimes even in a yin class, if they do a little transition, you might find it in there too. So, love that one. Great one for you to use. Why do inversions though? I mean, it's all fine and well, I say put your head under. There's one thing that I love about inversions is that it really changes your perspective. So much so that whenever I'm upset, like have my head under my heart in a downward dog or any of the others, the instructor will say, lift your left leg up, and I lift my right leg up. You can get a little confused, so know that that is completely normal. But what I also love about inversions is it changes your perspective of life and how you look at things. I mean, even if you lie down on the floor and you look up at the seat and you're like, oh, that's something new. I haven't seen it that way. So just always have that openness to seeing something in a different way. All right, we're going to move on to my second favorite inversion, and that is ragdoll. So you're going to come up onto your feet and we're just going to fold forward. Now, you've seen me do this pretty much at the beginning of every single one of my classes. I absolutely love this. So feet hip distance apart, nice and wide, bending at the knees, and you're going to fold forward, hinging at the hips. And I keep my knees bent because I got tight hamstrings, and so if I straighten up my legs, I round through the upper back, and I really want to lengthen my spine here. So bending the knees really does that, and it also gets a little more relaxing because you can just like sit chest on your thighs. You're going to take your pinky and put it in your elbow crease on the opposite elbow crease, and the same on the other side, and then you're going to just drop your head. This is the most amazing pose in my opinion, and why I love this is that I suffer from a lot of lower back pain, and I start my day off and I end my day off with this pose right here. It takes and alleviates so much of that lower back pain, but I also have a lot of tension in my neck, and right here you want to just soften through the jaws, and you want to soften through the forehead, just dropping the shoulders. It just releases so much tension in the neck, and it really helps with headaches too. If you're having a little bit of a tension headache, this is so helpful. Let's release your hands. I want to show you another variation where you interlace your hands behind your head And you bring the elbows forward and then you just drop down. You're not pulling, but you're just adding a little bit more weight by dropping the elbows down and just extending the neck a little bit longer. And then another thing that I love about this pose, I'm going to move my hands from that and just go back into the regular one, but you can try which one you want. You can also just drop your hands down too. Another reason why I absolutely love this pose is as you're walking through the day, gravity keeps pushing down onto your spine. And you got this synovial fluid in between each vertebra. And it kind of gets squished throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, you're actually a little shorter than you were when you started. Because when you sleep, you're lying on your back or on your side, and you don't have gravity pulling down at you on your spine, then the synovial fluids will fill up again in between those vertebrae. Well, right here, this is what we're doing. We're creating that space to allow the synovial fluids to fill back up again. All right, you're going to bring your hand down onto the earth. And now one thing with inversions, especially if you have low blood pressure, don't come up real quick. Do it slow. So bring your hand onto your thighs. And you slowly, really slowly come all the way up. Oh man, that feels so good. Definitely make sure that when you come up and down, you do that really slowly. And if you get a little lightheaded, just come back down on the floor, take a few breaths, and you should be fine. All right, so that was my second favorite pose of all time is ragdoll. That's how I start my day, end of my day. All right, now we're going to move on to another one of my favorites. It's a super relaxing pose. It's leg up the wall, also known as waterfall pose. And I'm going to say you're going to lie down on your back. And I like to have my block handy. A pillow is also great. So you're going to lie on the back here. And very simply, hands down by the side. You can be at a 45-degree angle, can be down right by your side. You can have your arms open, completely up to you, whatever you'd like to do. And you're going to just lift one leg up and the other. That's it. It's as simple as that. This, I got to tell you, I use it for two main reasons. One, when I've had a hectic leg day, my legs are sore, or I've been doing hiking or anything that makes my legs feel really stiff and really achy, put your legs up after you've worked out and you will start feeling a whole lot better. This really helps alleviate a lot of that lactic acid that's been built up in the muscle. It's coming back down towards your organs and starts cleansing and detoxing, and you'll start feeling great. This also calms your central nervous system. Reason number two I use this. If I'm feeling anxious, worried, or I feel that my heart rate is elevated for whatever emotional reason that I'm going through, by putting your legs up the wall like that, and I'll explain how to put them up the wall in a moment. But having your legs up like this, it is really, really calming. So, a couple of variations for this. You can take a block, and I love this, again, just bringing that awareness that my lower back really hurts quite a bit. So I take a block and I place it right here in the base of the low of the back, and then lift my leg up. That relieves so much tension in my lower back. It kind of opens this up too. So not only am I calming down, but I'm releasing tension in the lower back, helping with releasing some of that pain and discomfort. The other thing that I love about this leg up the wall is it is such a gentle stretch in the hamstrings. So that is a great way to gently lengthen that. All right, we're going to bring your feet down. And what I'm going to show you, I'm going to keep the block out of the way. Going up the legs of the wall, you literally put your legs up the wall and you let your heels just rest on them. So your legs might be here for now, pretend that's the wall touching my heels there, or you have them straight up. It's completely up to you depending on how open you are in the hamstrings. When you come on down, you just slide on down to your side and then you can come on up. That's if you're up against the wall. If you're not up against the wall, you just put your feet down and you come back up again. All right, so those are great poses already that you can try anytime. If you struggle to sleep, put your leg up on the wall too. That really helps too. All right, next one is shoulder stand. Now, there's some variations that I want to show you with shoulder stand. If you've had any neck injuries, I would not do shoulder stand. It can put a little pressure on the neck. You don't want there to be pressure on your neck. I'll give you all the tips that you need that doesn't happen. But there is a lot of this crunching chin into the chest, which is really good. We need to stretch the back of the neck. So that is great. But you do really want to be very mindful that all the weight is going to be on your shoulders. So let me first show you a supported one, and then I'm going to show you the full variation of it. Okay, so for the supported one, you need a block again. And you're going to come down onto your back, feet about hip distance apart, like you would with a bridge, which we did in our back bending series. You're going to press down and through your feet and lift up through your hips, and then take your block either on the middle setting or the highest. So if this is the first time you're doing it, let's do the middle setting. If you've got a little more opening, maybe you do the highest setting. So I'm going to show you the highest setting. For me to get the highest setting, I have to get on the balls of my feet. So let's get that all the way up and place it right here on the lower part of your back. And then you can place your feet down. Make sure you're feeling super sturdy. So move around a little and go, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Now it's opening up my chest here really nicely. We can add on and interlace the hands around the block too. You don't need to. Notice how I bring my shoulder blades towards each other so that my upper arms are pressing down into the earth and the back of the upper back is on the mat. Okay, so from here, you can also keep your hands down by your side, by the way. You don't need to interlace them. So I'm going to keep my hands by my side here. I'm going to bring my right leg up and lift it on up here, and you can hold it just here for some extra support. Or you can lift that other left leg up nice and slowly. Now, I am doing something that you should never do when you are doing a shoulder stand, is look anywhere other than up towards the ceiling. I'm looking at you though. But let's just look up at the ceiling here and close your eyes. So this is kind of like an in-between between the waterfall and a shoulder stand. We're getting our hips way higher and we're putting pressure on the upper back and the shoulders, and we're already getting a deeper stretch in the back of the neck. We're bringing the chin in towards the chest. All right, just take a few breaths here. Big breath in and breath out. Keep breathing and just notice with your feet, you don't need to have them flexed or pointed or anything. You just have them soft. You can also move them around and wiggle your toes, whatever you feel like doing. Okay, whatever works for you. This, when I'm doing this pose, this is when I sometimes realize like, oh, I need to get a manicure or something. All right, let's bring your right leg down first, then your left leg. All right, and then we're going to press down through the feet, lift the hips up, and move the block out the way. And coming and bring your whole back down, broadening your lower back onto the earth, and then just stay here for a moment, just to neutralize your spine. Breath in, breath out. All right, I'm going to walk you through the variation without the support. Again, you do not need to do this. You've got all these ways of supporting yourself. All right, so I got to tell you, I don't do this variation very often because I have some shoulder stuff going on. So I'm usually always doing the supported. So I actually had to practice to make sure that I remembered how to do this to show you. It's been that long. Sometimes poses work great for you and you will do them all the time. And sometimes, you just say, it's just not working for me. I'm always going to do the supported one until you feel better. Always make those decisions to look after your body. All right, so the next one, you got to do a little bit of core engagement here. You're going to lift the legs up and place your hands onto your lower back. Now, what you want to do is walk your elbows in towards each other as much as you can, and then walk your hands down towards your shoulder blades. Lift up through those hips, feet up to the sky. You want to stack your hips and shoulders in one line, bringing the weight into your upper arms and the shoulders. It actually feels kind of good. I guess I've been taking some time just doing the supported one, building that strength, but this now feels better. Now, sometimes what I see is the hips down here or the legs bent. Try and lift on up and soften through the feet. All right. Now, we're going to walk through a plow. You're going to bring the one knee in towards your forehead and extend the right leg out behind you, and then do the same with that left, and slowly walk your left foot behind you too. Again, the hips are stacking over the shoulders, and you can bring your hands down onto the earth. Now, there's so many variations here. You can have your legs straight. You can take a block, if I can reach it. Yes, I can. And place it to lift the floor up a little higher so that your feet actually touch the ground. Now, how to be safe here. Always look up towards the ceiling. Don't look side to side. Keep your hands on your lower back until your feet actually are supported either by the wall or a block or the floor. If they're not supported and they're just dangling, that's not a problem. Just try to keep the hips over the shoulders and keep your hands on your lower back and keep walking those elbows in towards each other as a nice base to support you. All right, we're going to slowly place the hands down onto the earth, and I want you to use your core and roll out slowly, slowly, slowly. You might just collapse out of it. That's okay. But try very hard to engage the core muscles to come down and down. All right, and then you just bend the knees and bring your feet. And let's just sway your knees side to side. Beautiful. Nicely done. All right, nicely done. Let's bring your hands underneath your thighs and let's have a little fun here. We're going to rock and roll up and down. So we're rocking up and rock back down and rock back up and back down. This is so good. Massaging your back like this. So good for you. This is fun as well. So just keep rocking. Also, you start engaging your core too. You can add a little more core engagement and go whoop, and we do a little balancing and don't put the feet down. All right, 2 more rounds like this. And then we'll come all the way up into a seated position. You guys did an awesome job. Keep practicing those. And over time, once you've done yoga more and more, you'll be building up all the muscles and flexibility that you need for you to then move on to more advanced poses of handstands and forearms. But you just saw right there that you got all the benefits of having your feet up higher than your heart without having to do some fancy work here. Yoga doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It can be super, super simple, and it can be super relaxing too. So I hope you enjoyed that. Keep practicing. Remember, come up real slowly and enjoy.